This video is on thesis statements. What is a thesis statement? A thesis statement sums up the main claim of your essay. It's a well-supported opinion, a single idea which may have a number of supporting subpoints. It's one declarative sentence in the introduction draft of your essay. It's always in third person. It's a guide to what the reader can expect in the rest of your paper. It sets them up to know what they're reading about and what they will learn. A thesis is something that allows for argument and counterargument, and something that answers a research question. Based on that definition, we realize there are certain things that a thesis statement is not. It cannot be a question, and it's also not a fact. Again, it's a well-supported opinion that you're going to back up in your paper with research facts. It's never in first person. You're going to avoid I, me, my, we. It's also not in second person, you or yours. It should not be a mystery to find it or to figure it out. It should be clearly stated at the end of your introduction draft. You should avoid absolute qualifiers such as always, all, none, or never, because it's rarely always and it's also rarely never. You want to avoid language like maybe, might, believe, think, perhaps. It's very uncertain, and you want to be strong and clear with your writing. So how do you develop a thesis statement? Step one is create a research question that you want to learn more about. Questions to ask while conducting the research are related to phases of logical reasoning, the construction of an argument. So the right questions to ask are not necessarily who, what, where, why, how, and when, although they may help you to narrow down your topic. When it comes to the research question, you want to think about more specifics. What would have happened if the event in question didn't happen? Or if someone else took charge? If the winning side lost instead? If no one ever found out this occurred? And what difference does this information make? Why is it important to know? Who is or will be impacted by the facts and conclusions? These questions relate to logos, which is reasoning, ethos, which is the validity, and pathos, which is the appeal. So a sample thesis development could look like this. You may have a research question that states, what are the lasting effects that violence in video games has on children? Perhaps you want to know more about it. And perhaps your discussion or your thoughts are that violence in video games leaves children feeling like violence is acceptable. You then need to do some research to find evidence, to find facts that would back up your opinion. So as you're searching for it, you find out that violence in middle schools is increasing, that it's damaging to normalize violence, and that high rates of fights and bullying are currently happening in middle schools across the country. You then would put that together to create a thesis that sounds something like this. Violence in modern video games makes children feel that violence is an acceptable behavior due to their consumption of video games at a crucial stage of development. You now have a working thesis statement to work off of for the rest of your research paper. If we look at these thesis statements, pollution is bad for the environment, there's not enough for a reader to agree or disagree with. We don't necessarily know why it is, or what's happening, or what the reader feels we should do about it. Drug use is detrimental to society. Although you may agree with it, you may not know enough about it. How is it? Why is it? What solution is being proposed? Movies are becoming more and more daring in their subject matter. Well, perhaps you agree, but perhaps you agree they are because of violence and gore. And someone else feels that it's the language. You have to be very specific. The court needs to implement stronger sentences. You can't really agree or disagree Because you may feel that there needs to be stronger sentences for local carjackings, but you may feel that there does not need to be a stronger sentence for someone who's jaywalking. A thesis statement needs to be very detailed and tell the why. These statements are a bit stronger. At least 25% of the federal budget should be spent on limiting pollution. We can agree or disagree. It's very specific. We might feel and agree that money should be from the federal budget should be spent on limiting pollution, but maybe 25% is way too high in our thoughts. Illegal drug use is detrimental because it encourages gang violence. Oh, okay. Now I can agree or disagree that it does that. The student debt crisis is one of the most serious problems facing the country today. Maybe I believe it's a problem, but maybe I don't believe it's that large of a problem. These are statements that your readers can understand and agree or disagree with. The last one states, rather than encouraging all students to attend four-year colleges, we should instead emphasize the validity of two-year colleges, technical schools, and trade schools. These statements are clear and they present a point that a reader can agree or disagree with, and also that a reader knows what to expect as they're reading your essay. I hope that helped clarify thesis statements.